Hey there, coin hunters, treasure seekers, and folks who haven't cleaned out their couch cushions in a decade. Today, I've got a wild one for you. Imagine this. You walk into your favorite gas station, grab a soda, and the cashier gives you back change. You go home, plop down on the couch, and as you're tossing the coins on the table, you realize one of those quarters might be worth $1 million. Yeah, you heard me right. $1 million. Now before you run to the nearest coin jar with a magnifying glass, hang tight because we're diving into the 1989 P. Washington quarter and why it's making collectors lose their minds. We're talking about a simple coin with a wild backstory, rare features, and a market value that might just pay off your mortgage. I'm also gonna share a little story about the time I thought I hit the jackpot, but ended up with a Canadian quarter. Yep. True story. So grab your favorite snack, settle in, and let's talk about how a coin you might have spent on parking could actually buy you a beach house. Alright, let's set the stage. The year was 1989. George H. W. Bush became president, Batman with Michael Keaton hit the theaters, and your quarter? It was probably jingling in someone's fanny pack at the mall. The U.S. Mint in Philadelphia pumped out millions of quarters that year. But not all quarters are created equal. Some of them came out with errors or rare characteristics that made collectors raise their eyebrows and start writing checks with a lot of zeros. Now, when we say 1989 P. Washington quarter, we're talking about the ones with the tiny P just above the date. That P stands for the Philadelphia Mint. But here's where it gets juicy. A very small number of these quarters came out with unusual minting errors, high-grade finishes, and just the right amount of crisp detail that made them stand out. Some were struck on planchets intended for other coins. Others were double-struck or misaligned. A few had ridiculously high grades from grading services like PCGS and NGC. And if you've got one of those rare birds in pristine mint state condition, you're sitting on a coin currently valued at up to $1 million. Now let me be clear. Not every 1989 P quarter is worth a fortune. If it's been in your pocket, gone through the washer 3 times, or been chewed on by your dog, it's probably still worth 25 cents. Maybe 26 if your dog signed it. But if you've got a shiny, uncirculated beauty with unique features or an error, that's the ticket. And speaking of tickets, let me tell you about the time I thought I had one. Picture this. I'm going through my spare change after a long road trip. I see this gorgeous quarter. Clean rim, sharp detail, and guess what? 1989, P mint mark. My heart started racing faster than a squirrel at a bird feeder. I grabbed my loop, checked the date, looked for doubling, misalignment, anything. I even weighed it. Everything seemed off, in a good way. I'm thinking to myself, this is it. I'm retiring. No more punching a clock. I'm going to live on a yacht and eat grapes. I send it off for grading. Weeks go by. I check the mailbox like a kid waiting for a decoder ring. The envelope finally arrives, and guess what? It was a Canadian quarter that somehow snuck its way into my US change. Not only was it not rare, it wasn't even American. I kept it though. We've been through too much together. First, condition is king. If your coin is beat up, scratched, or bent, it's probably just a regular quarter. Second, look for errors. That includes double die obverse, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or anything that just looks off. Sometimes what looks like a mistake can be a jackpot. Third, grading. Coins graded MS67 or higher are where the money lives. These coins look like they were struck yesterday, even though they've been around since before the internet was a thing. If you've got one in that grade with rare features, collectors will go wild for it. And lastly, rarity. If only a handful of coins with those traits exist, the demand skyrockets. That's basic coin economics. High demand, low supply, big value. Currently, one of these ultra-rare 1989 P quarters has fetched up to $1 million in private sales and auction circles. That's not a typo. That's a million with 6 zeros. Now look, I'm not saying every 1989 P quarter you find will make you rich. But I am saying this, if you're not checking your quarters, you're leaving treasure in your pocket. Literally, coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's a treasure hunt. And every day, people are walking right past potential gold mines in the form of everyday pocket change. So the next time you're about to drop a quarter in a vending machine, stop and check the date. Because you never know. It could be the one that changes your life. If you enjoyed this video and want more coin hunting tips, stories from the trenches, and strategies on how to spot the coins that are truly worth money, then do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and turn on that bell notification so you don't miss a single coin drop. Trust me, we've got more stories, more laughs, and more million-dollar coin finds coming your way. Hey folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever checked the change in your pocket and thought, man, I wish one of these coins could make me a millionaire? Well, what if I told you that one quarter, just 25 cents, might actually be worth over $1 million? Nope, I haven't lost my mind. I'm talking about the 2016 P. Theodore Roosevelt quarter. That little coin, the one you probably used to buy a pack of gum, could now buy you a luxury car, a beach house, and still leave you with enough change to grab dinner at a fancy steakhouse. And trust me, I ain't pulling your leg. Today, I'm going to break down what makes this coin so incredibly valuable, how you can spot one, and yes, I'll even share a story of the time I almost tossed a fortune into a vending machine for a bag of chips. Yeah, true story. So sit back, grab your change jar, and let's dive into the wild world of valuable quarters. Alright, let's kick things off with the basics. The 2016 P. Theodore Roosevelt quarter is part of the America the Beautiful series, a collection that honored national parks and historic sites in every state. This one specifically celebrates Theodore Roosevelt National Park in North Dakota. Great question. See, it's not just the design that makes this coin valuable. It's all about rarity, condition, and mint errors. And this particular coin has the holy trinity of value. First off, it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is marked with a little P on the front. So if you're digging through your change, make sure you find that P. Only a few of these coins were minted with a rare die error. Some of them were struck with extra details in the field, doubling in the lettering, or slight misalignments that only seasoned collectors, or lucky folks with good eyes, can spot. That error combined with pristine condition? That's the $1 million ticket. Now let me rewind to a moment from my own life. A couple years back, I was at the laundromat, right? And I'm digging through my coin stash to grab quarters for the dryer. I found a shiny one with Teddy Roosevelt riding a horse. I paused for half a second, thought, cool horse, then tossed it in and kept moving. Fast forward a few months. I'm reading about this coin online and I see a picture. My heart dropped. It looked just like the one I sacrificed to spin my socks dry. I could have been retired on a ranch next to Roosevelt himself, but no. I gave it to a dryer. Now I triple check every coin before I spend it. I've got a magnifying glass next to my wallet. My friends think I'm looking for treasure, and guess what? I am. 1. That P mint mark. 2. Check the condition. If it's banged up like it went through a rock tumbler, probably not a jackpot. But if it looks like it just came from the mint, you might be in business. Double dies, weird lines, ghost images, off-center strikes. If you're not sure what you're looking at, compare it with pictures online or visit a local coin dealer. And speaking of coin dealers, if you think you found one of these gems, don't go selling it to a pawn shop for lunch money. Get it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. They'll confirm what you've got and slap it in a plastic case like it's going into the Hall of Fame. Collectors will pay big for verified coins. And the rarer and cleaner it is, the higher the bidding war will go. That's how that one lucky coin reached a value of $1.1 million. Crazy, right? Let's put it into perspective. That's a 4.4 million % return on investment. You can't get that with Bitcoin, folks. And don't forget about auctions. If you've got a coin like this, there are online and in-person auctions where rich collectors come to throw money around like they're playing Monopoly. And if your quarter shows up in one of those, you might just walk away with a briefcase full of cash and a lifetime supply of coin sleeves. Alright, let's bring it home. The 2016 P. Theodore Roosevelt quarter is not just another coin in your pocket. It's a potential millionaire maker. All it takes is a sharp eye, a little luck, and some patience digging through your change. So the next time someone tells you quarters aren't worth your time, just smile, flip your coin in the air, and keep hunting. And if you've ever made the mistake of spending a rare coin like I did, don't feel bad. The good news is there are still treasures out there waiting to be found. That's the beauty of coin collecting. You're just one lucky find away from turning pocket change into serious cash. Grab your jar of coins, flip through your wallet, check between the couch cushions. Who knows? Maybe you've been sitting on a fortune this whole time. If you found this video helpful, funny, or you just enjoyed watching me relive the tragedy of my lost quarter, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I've got loads more tips, stories, and strategies to help you find coins worth money, and avoid tossing them in vending machines. Tap that like button, share this with your coin collecting buddies, and leave a comment below if you think you've seen a Theodore Roosevelt quarter in the wild. Maybe, just maybe, it's the $1 million one. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Now go check that change, and don't say I didn't warn you. Alright, stop what you're doing and go check your pocket change. Yes, right now. Because if you're sitting on a 1995 P. Washington quarter, you could be sitting on a gold mine. I'm not kidding, one of these bad boys sold for a jaw-dropping $1.2 million. Yeah, that's 6 zeros. From a single quarter. Now before you start throwing your laundry money into a safe, let's talk about why this coin is so valuable, how to spot it, and why your couch cushions might just be the most underrated investment portfolio of the decade. But first, let me tell you a little story. True story, by the way. A few years ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. He's one of those guys who still has VHS tapes, 2 broken lawnmowers, and a coffee can full of old change. I was bored, so I started flipping through the coins, and guess what I found? A 1995 P quarter that looked odd. Didn't think much of it, but I tossed it in my pocket and brought it home. Fast forward a few weeks, and after some digging and squinting at forums at 2 a.m., I realized it could be worth a lot more than 25 cents. Long story short, I didn't win the coin lottery that time, but I did get hooked on coin collecting, and if you're watching this, chances are you're either a seasoned collector or someone who's just now wondering if your spare change can buy you a boat. Either way, you're in the right place. Alright, so let's get this straight. The average 1995 P quarter? Probably still worth a quarter. But the rare one? That unicorn among the herd? That's the one you want. The key is in the minting errors and condition. Now, the 1995 P Washington quarter was minted in Philadelphia. The P stands for Philadelphia, not priceless, unfortunately, but some of these coins were struck with errors that collectors go absolutely nuts for. That's when the image, especially Washington's face or the letters, looks like it has a shadow or doubling effect. Kinda like he had too much coffee and couldn't sit still. These coins were stamped a bit to the side, making them look like the mint had one too many energy drinks. Basically, a super shiny, crisp coin. These are usually in mint state or uncirculated condition, meaning they skipped the whole vending machine life cycle. One particular 1995 P quarter with a flawless mint error and in pristine condition sold for $1.2 million at a private auction. And the kicker? It was found in a box of pocket change that had been sitting in someone's closet for years. Make sure it says 1995 and has a little P under the year. That's step 1. Zoom in on the words, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty." If the letters look like they're echoing themselves, you've got something special. If the coin looks like it's been through a war, chances are it's not worth much. But if it's crisp, shiny, and has sharp details, you're in business. If you think you've got the magic quarter, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. A high grade can mean the difference between lunch money and life-changing cash. Let's talk numbers. Most 1995 P quarters in circulated condition? Worth around 25 to 50 cents, maybe a couple bucks if they're in great shape. But the rare versions, collectors will pay big money for coins that are one of a kind. Why? Because they're not making any more of them, and every collector wants to own a piece of history. There are folks out there who've literally changed their lives by flipping coins. One guy found a rare quarter in a laundromat. Another lady discovered a $10,000 penny in a jar she inherited from her grandfather. And then there was me, knee-deep in dust and cobwebs, digging through a garage full of old stuff just to find a shiny piece of history. It's part treasure hunt, part obsession, and part wild goose chase, but it's also a ton of fun. And you never know when luck's gonna strike. Here's where things get fun. If you want to increase your odds of finding valuable coins, try this: go to your bank, get some rolls of quarters, and search through them. It's like scratching lottery tickets without wasting money. Older relatives especially. They've got coins from decades ago hiding in jars, drawers, and between couch cushions. You'd be amazed at what people give away for pennies. Get a binder, use coin flips, and label everything. You don't want to mix up your treasures with your toll booth change. Follow channels like this one, read up on coin values, and stay in the loop on market trends, and please, for the love of nickels, don't clean your coins with toothpaste or anything weird. That shiny quarter might look better, but collectors want it in original condition. So there you have it, folks. A 1995 $quarter coin that could be worth up to $1.2 million. It's not just pocket change anymore, it's potentially life-changing change. And while not every quarter will make you rich, the thrill of the hunt is half the fun. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, keep your eyes open and your fingers crossed. That next coin could be the one. And if it isn't, well hey, you still have 25 cents and a great hobby. If you enjoyed this video and you want more tips on spotting valuable coins, strategies for coin hunting, and real stories about finds that made people fortunes, hit that subscribe button. Join our community of treasure hunters, learn something new every week, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be the next lucky person with $1 million quarter in your pocket. And remember, your next coffee run might just come with change worth more than your car. Hey folks, let me hit you with a question right off the bat. What if I told you there's a coin floating around that looks like your everyday quarter, but it's actually worth $1.3 million? That's right. A single coin that could buy you a house, a car, a boat, and still leave enough for tacos every Tuesday for the rest of your life. Now before you roll your eyes and think I've lost my marbles, hang tight. Because I'm talking about a 2015 D-State quarter. Yep. Just one of those shiny little guys that we all forget in couch cushions, laundry machines, or tip jars. But this one is different. It's got the kind of story that would make even your grandma break out the magnifying glass and start hunting through her purse. So today, we're gonna dive into the juicy details of why this 2015 D quarter is commanding a jaw-dropping $1.3 million on the market. I'll break it all down in plain English, sprinkle in a little humor, and even share a personal story about the time I almost threw away a fortune. Spoiler alert, I didn't, but it was close. Alright, so let's set the stage. The 2015 D quarter we're talking about is part of the America the Beautiful series. Specifically, this one features Kisatchie National Forest in Louisiana. Now, the design is cool. You've got a wild turkey flying through a piney background like he just heard Thanksgiving's coming early. But here's the kicker, it ain't the design that makes it a millionaire's coin. It's the mint error. Oh yeah, baby. That little D mark under the word, "In God We Trust," tells us it was minted in Denver. And somewhere along the way, something went sideways at the mint. We're talking about a serious strike-through error, or maybe a double die, or even a planchet issue. The exact error can vary, but the rarest versions, and the most valuable, tend to have strong doubling on the lettering, particularly around Liberty and United States of America. Combine that with pristine condition, say MS-68 or higher, and boom, we're looking at that seven-figure payday. Now, you might be thinking, how does a mistake make it worth more? Well, that's coin collecting for you. Errors are like typos in the printing of old books, rare, weird, and incredibly collectible. The fewer there are, the more folks want one. Especially if it's an error that's easy to see without a microscope and two Red Bulls. A few years back, I was cleaning out a shoebox full of old change. You know the type, pennies stuck together with mystery goo, a couple foreign coins you can't pronounce, and a mountain of quarters. I was just about to toss a handful into a Coinstar machine when I noticed something funny about one of the quarters. The turkey looked like it was flying out of the coin. I mean literally, the details looked doubled, almost like it was 3D. I threw it aside thinking maybe I was just tired. Later that night, I Googled it. One thing led to another, and I found out that coin could be worth thousands. Now, mine wasn't the $1 million one, but it still sold for a pretty penny. And let me tell you, I haven't looked at pocket change the same way since. Look for the Kisatchie National Forest with the turkey. The fewer the scratches and dings, the better. Think fresh out of the roll. Look for doubling, weird marks, off-center strikes, or even die cracks. Now, don't panic if you're not sure what you're looking at. There are websites and coin forums full of collectors who'll help you out. Or even better, get yourself a $10 magnifying loupe and pretend you're Sherlock Holmes for a day. It's fun, I promise, it's funny. We spend so much time chasing big money ideas, flipping houses, or investing in stocks, when sometimes the treasure is jingling around in your cup holder. I've heard stories of people finding valuable coins at gas stations, vending machines, and even in laundromats. So the next time you're fishing for quarters to feed the parking meter, slow down and take a closer look. You never know what kind of treasure you might be holding. And for those wondering if there's any risk of finding a fake, sure, but it's not super common with these. Still, if you find one that looks off or too perfect, it doesn't hurt to get it authenticated by a grading service like PCGS or NGC. Yeah, they'll charge a little, but that peace of mind is worth it, especially if you're sitting on $1 million mistake. The 2015 D Kisatchie quarter may look ordinary, but thanks to a rare mint error and pristine condition, one of these bad boys is pulling in a cool $1.3 million in today's market. That's not just a coin, that's a life-changer. So here's your homework. Dig through your change. Check the car, the couch cushions, your old piggy bank. Ask your kids, your parents, even the neighbor you barely talk to. And when you find a quarter with a turkey on it, especially one with that D mint mark, take a good long look. Because it might just be the golden ticket you didn't know you had. If this kind of coin talk makes your ears perk up, then you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a tip that could help you strike it rich with coins hiding in plain sight. I've got tons more strategies, stories, and coin collecting gold to share with you, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Alright, folks, picture this: you're rummaging through a jar of loose change, maybe you're sipping on a cup of coffee, and you come across a coin that makes you pause. A quarter. But not just any quarter, a 2001 D Kentucky quarter. Sounds ordinary, right? Well, guess what? That little quarter could be worth a whopping $1.4 million. Yes, you heard that right. A quarter worth more than a house, a car, and probably your entire vacation fund combined. But how? Why? And what the heck is so special about this coin? Stick around, because today we're going to dive into the story behind the 2001 D Kentucky quarter and why it's sending coin collectors into a frenzy. So, here's the deal: the 2001 D Kentucky quarter wasn't just a regular coin minted for everyday use. It's part of the State Quarters program launched by the U.S. Mint, which ran from 1999 to 2008. Each year, 5 different states got their own quarter design, and Kentucky's design, unveiled in 2001, featured the iconic thoroughbred horse racing image that the state is famous for. Pretty cool, right? But here's where things get wild: while most of these quarters are floating around in pocket change, there are a few rare ones that got misprinted or made with some weird flaws. And if you happen to have one of those, you could be holding onto a small fortune. Now, you might be asking, how in the world can a quarter be worth $1.4 million? Well, the short answer is, rarity and condition. This isn't just about some mint mark that got misplaced. It's about how the coin was struck, the imperfections it carries, and how many of them are out there in circulation. Let's break it down a little further. The 2001 D Kentucky quarter's value skyrockets when it has some very specific characteristics, like certain die errors, or if it's in mint condition, meaning it looks like it just came off the minting press yesterday. In fact, the $1.4 million value comes from a coin that has an exceptional error, a rare variety that collectors hunt down like gold. Finding one of these errors? Well, that's like winning the lottery, except without all the annoying taxes. I'll admit, I was skeptical at first. I mean, who thought a quarter could be worth so much? But let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I was sifting through a tin of old coins my granddad had left me. It was like opening a treasure chest, but full of junk, old pennies, random nickels, some quarters I couldn't even identify. But then, I stumbled upon a 2001 D Kentucky quarter. It wasn't shiny, it wasn't in perfect condition, but it looked different. I had no idea at the time, but that tiny flicker of doubt in my mind, could this be worth something? Led me down the rabbit hole of coin collecting. I did some research, got it appraised, and wouldn't you know it? That exact quarter was a slightly rarer variety, and while not worth the full $1.4 million, it still had a hefty price tag. Moral of the story: sometimes, those old coins you toss aside might just be hiding a small fortune. And let me tell you, there's nothing quite like the thrill of discovering that one coin that changes everything. It's like finding the golden ticket to a chocolate factory, except it's a quarter and you're probably going to sell it for a lot of cash instead of getting a lifetime supply of candy. To spot these rare coins, you've got to know exactly what to look for. A good rule of thumb is checking for errors like double die strikes, minting flaws, or just coins that have been treated well over time. But this is where things get interesting. For some coins, even slight imperfections or minting errors can cause their value to soar. It's all about that sweet spot where rarity and demand meet, and the 2001 D Kentucky quarter definitely hits that sweet spot. You might be wondering, okay, but where do I even start looking? Well, if you've got a jar of old coins lying around, now's the time to dig through it. But don't just go picking out any quarter and calling it a treasure. You've got to be strategic. Check the mint marks, the D in 2001 D, and then check for things like wear and tear, or possible errors in the design. The more pristine the coin, the higher the chance it's valuable. And for those of you thinking, yeah, but I don't have any Kentucky quarters, don't worry. Keep an eye out. These things pop up when you least expect them. The 2001 D Kentucky quarter is just one of those unsung heroes in the coin world, hiding in plain sight and waiting to make someone a millionaire. If you're into coin collecting, or you just want to know if that old change jar is hiding some gold, start paying attention to the details. You never know when that one quarter will come along and change your life. And hey, I'm not saying you're going to find $1 million quarter overnight, but the thrill of finding something valuable in your pocket change? That's priceless. Before you run off to search through your coins, and I know you're already halfway there, do me a favor. If you enjoyed learning about the 2001 D Kentucky quarter, and want to hear more tips and tricks on coins worth a ton of money, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Stick around for more, because I've got plenty more valuable coins to tell you about. You never know what treasure might be hiding in your change jar next. Hey, fellow coin enthusiasts. Did you ever think your pocket change could be hiding a small fortune? No, I'm not talking about finding a dollar bill with a cool serial number. This is way crazier. I'm talking about a 2000 D South Carolina quarter that could be worth a whopping $1.5 million. Yep, you heard me right. A quarter, from the year 2000, could be sitting in your coin jar right now, silently waiting to make you a millionaire. Now, before you go digging through every quarter in your collection, I know you're already thinking about it. Let's talk about how a coin worth 25 cents could be worth a life-changing amount of cash. And trust me, I've got a funny story about how I almost missed out on a rare coin myself, so stay tuned for that. Alright, let's break it down. First, the basics. What exactly is the 2000 D South Carolina quarter? Well, it's part of the 50-state quarters program, which was launched by the U.S. Mint in 1999. The program featured unique designs for each state, and for South Carolina, the design shows a colorful image of a palmetto tree and a crescent moon, symbolizing the state's flag. While these quarters were made by the millions, a rare error coin was produced in 2000. The D Mint mark refers to quarters made at the Denver Mint. So, what makes this specific quarter worth $1.50 million? It turns out, some of these 2000 D South Carolina quarters were struck with a very unusual mistake. We're talking about a double die error. In simpler terms, the coin was struck twice, causing certain elements of the design to appear more than once, creating a noticeable doubling effect. These double die errors are incredibly rare, and when found in good condition, they can fetch a huge price from collectors. A coin that most people would toss into the laundry basket or let roll around in the car for years could actually be a collector's dream. It's a needle in a haystack, though, so don't get too excited just yet. Finding one of these errors is no easy task. Let me tell you a little story. Back in the day, when I was just getting started in coin collecting, I had no idea how valuable even the most common coins could be. I had a bunch of change sitting around, some quarters, dimes, a couple of pennies, and I thought, they're just change, nothing special. One day, a buddy of mine who was deep into coin collecting asked me to check my quarters. He said something about double dies and error coins, and how they could be worth big money. I chuckled and thought, this guy's got to be messing with me. But curiosity got the best of me, so I took a closer look at my quarters. And guess what? I found one. A 1972 quarter that had a noticeable doubling in the lettering. Not quite as rare as the 2000 D South Carolina quarter, but it was still worth a nice chunk of change. I sold it for a solid $200, which felt like winning the lottery at the time. Never underestimate what could be hiding in your pocket change. Whether it's a rare 2000 D South Carolina quarter or a different error coin, you never know when you might stumble upon a treasure. How can you tell if your 2000 D South Carolina quarter is worth $1.5 million? Great question. This one's pretty obvious, right? Make sure the quarter you're looking at is from the year 2000, and that it's from the Denver Mint. Look for the D Mint mark. This is where things get tricky. The doubling should be noticeable on the coin's lettering, like the South Carolina text. If the lettering looks slightly blurry or doubled, you might be looking at a potential jackpot. But this doubling needs to be very clear to increase the coin's value. Coins in better condition are worth more. A quarter that's been through a few too many washes in your jeans pocket might not bring in the big bucks, but one that's shiny and in excellent shape could fetch the top price. If you think you found one of these rare error coins, don't just sell it to the first guy offering you a few bucks. Take it to a professional for authentication. They'll verify if it's a genuine error, and then you can sell it to the right buyer who's willing to pay a premium price. By the way, when it comes to selling rare coins, I learned the hard way not to jump the gun. That 1972 quarter I found? I was so eager to sell it, I almost gave it away for a fraction of what it was worth. A little research, patience, and understanding the true value of coins made all the difference. The 2000 D South Carolina quarter could be worth up to $1.5 million, and while it's super rare, you could have one hiding in your collection right now. All it takes is a little bit of luck, some sharp eyes, and the willingness to dig a little deeper into your coin stash. Who knows? You could be sitting on a small fortune, just like I almost was. If you found this video helpful, or if you're now scouring your change jar, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'll keep sharing more tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth big money, along with strategies on how to spot them before anyone else does. And hey, if you do find a coin that could be worth millions, make sure to tell me about it in the comments. We'll celebrate together.